Well, guys, we're going to get to be leftists in this segment because today we're going to be dunking on who is currently presumed to be the next Democratic nominee for the party as presidential candidate, Gavin Newsom, the current governor of California. Now, I've been very vocal about the fact that if Gavin Newsom does end up winning the primary, then all of us are going to have to suck it up and vote for him against whatever Republican they run against him in said general election. And people have been really mad about that, explaining how bad Gavin Newsom is and how much they hate him and all these bad things he said or done, as if anything they could list would possibly put him on the same level or worse than Donald Trump. And I've been on the side of vote blue no matter who since the beginning. That when it comes to general elections and local elections, you vote for the Democrat over the Republican every time. There's very, very rare exceptions to that. Maybe like a leftist candidate runs as a Republican just to be able to run against a Democrat and potentially win. Maybe that happens and you vote Republican, but that would be very rare. Regardless, though, vote blue no matter who. I believe in that firmly. But ideally, we aren't going to be stuck with a subpar candidate when the general election comes around next, which means we need to make sure that Democrat voters know Gavin Newsom is not the ideal candidate, and maybe we shouldn't all throw our support behind him in the primary. Maybe we should try to find a better candidate who reflects very good policies, has strong convictions, and also stands a good chance of beating Donald Trump. And to emphasize, or I guess give a little bit of a platform to the critics of Gavin Newsom, I figured we'd watch a segment from The Hill today, basically ripping into Gavin Newsom about his flip-flopping on his, and I quote, hardcore Zionism. That's from Gavin Newsom's mouth, not mine. He called himself a hardcore Zionist. So let's go ahead and take a dive into this breakdown of Gavin Newsom's cringe takes that he's had and his flip-flopping.
California Governor Gavin Newsom catching some flack from the left after seemingly backtracking his comments from earlier this month when he called Israel an apartheid state.
Now, that comment, you may remember, came during a conversation with Pod Save America hosts John Favreau and Tommy Vietor. Take a listen.
The issue of Bibi is interesting because he's got his own domestic issues. He's trying to stay out of jail. He's got an election coming up. He's potentially on the ropes. He's got folks, the hard line, that want to annex the West Bank. I mean, Freeman and others are talking about it appropriately, sort of an apartheid state. They couldn't even, we're talking about regime change. For 2 years, they haven't even been able to solve the Hamas question.
Well, this week, the governor and presumed 2028 hopeful told Politico that he regrets saying that.
I deeply oppose Bibi Netanyahu's leadership, his opposition to the two-state solution, and deeply oppose how he is indulging the far right as it relates to what's going on in the West Bank.
Do you regret using the word apartheid to describe Israel?
I used it. I do in this context that I said it, and I referenced why I used it.
It's like, like what he said was based, but then he walks it back, and he's like soft walking it back. Don't get me wrong, but it's like very clear that he doesn't have the balls to like fully bite down on that take and say, well, yeah, it is an apartheid state. The Likud party, I think that's how it's pronounced, Likud party, that Netanyahu leads is pro-apartheid and enforces apartheid in Israel. I don't know. I feel like more American politicians should feel comfortable calling out Netanyahu and the Israeli regime as a party, like criticizing the party that is leading the country. Because meanwhile, Gavin Newsom isn't afraid to call out the party that's leading America right now, the Republicans. In the case of Israel, it's the Likud party, Netanyahu's party. They control Israel. They run Israel in the same way Trump's regime does. So why not call out the nation as, full with your chest as you would the current administration of the U.S.? It's all one party running everything right now, pretty much.
Friedman article in that same sentence where Tom used it in the context of the direction that Bibi is going.
Not the current
and
state.
The concern, correct.
Okay.
That disappointed some on the left who have been critical of Israel. Mehdi Hassan posting one word in response on X, sigh, and former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner echoing that writing in her own post. This is Governor Newsom is. He flip-flops.
Comments came as Democrats are feeling the waning support for Israel among their base, and that's apparently led some with potential 2028 ambitions to start distancing themselves from the Israel-aligned PAC, AIPAC. According to a new article from Politico,
I think it came out that AIPAC invested $200 million into making sure progressive candidates lost their primary runs in congressional races. Something like millions of dollars was invested by AIPAC into stopping Kat Abugzaleh. I can never pronounce her last name. I'm bad with, frankly, pronouncing anyone's name. But if you know Kat, she ran for Congress. Apparently AIPAC put millions into her campaign opponent to prevent her from winning her Congress run primary. So that was pretty cringe to find that out. I'm telling you about these super PACs, guys. These super PACs hold a lot of power in politics, and they have the most power in local elections.
Cory Booker, who received donations from AIPAC as recently as December,
gotta vote in your local elections,
swore off more money from them, saying it was part of a broader pledge he made at the start of the year to swear off all PAC money going forward. Newsom himself said he's never accepted their money and, quote, never will. Josh Shapiro, J.B. Pritzker, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear also told Politico they haven't taken money from the group at all. Of course, AIPAC also sometimes it just runs advertisements against the other person, so even if you're not taking there's only one way in which they operate. I'm not on the left at all. I'm not anything having to do with Mehdi Hassan, so he's upset that Newsom took back saying Israel's apartheid. I think it was wrong to say Israel was apartheid, so I obviously...
The guy on the right is clearly a Netanyahu lover. No, Israel is an apartheid state. I'm a pro two-state solution guy. I'm one of the people that's out here saying, guys, Israel's a country. Its population is literally half of the world's Jewish people. So maybe we don't say crazy fucking shit about Israel that's all-encompassing and lacking in nuance, because that can lead to some pretty scary places by implication. I'm the first guy to come out and say that stuff, but, you got to be willing to call out the party running the nation of Israel enforcing the rule of the nation as an apartheid state. Because it's just true. It is. If it wasn't so politically shaky, I think most people would agree.
Don't care that he took it back. I think he shouldn't have said it, and I would not describe them that way. I have criticisms of the government of Israel that I share with people on the left or people on the right, people all over the place, but I similarly don't call it a genocide. What has happened in Gaza, it's conventional warfare against a terrorist group that has had a staggeringly high civilian casualty rate that I condemn and oppose, but I don't think it's a deliberate effort to wipe out a people. So there's where I disagree. You can tell me you disagree. I don't care.
You don't care.
Well,
no.
My feelings won't be hurt. I mean, I know people on the left feel strongly that it's a genocide.
So listen,
apartheid. But
I think to me this is a little frustrating because Hakeem Jeffries, for example, one of the people that denounced taking any donations from AIPAC, just took donations.
So one way. I think there are words that end a conversation.
Okay,
and it's not helpful. Go ahead.
So Hakeem Jeffries, for example, someone who's denouncing taking any funds in the future from AIPAC, just took funds from them in December. And so I think with Democrats, it's really frustrating because it's not a problem to have supported or support Israel in any way to understand our allyship with the country, but making AIPAC the boogeyman is really not the best way forward. How about laying out policies? And if you're actually not going to take their money, don't find secret ways to still work alongside them or take their money in the future or be someone who's taken their money throughout the entire war and now...
One thing a lot of people don't know is that AIPAC is not Israeli money. It is technically, you could argue, Israeli influence in U.S. politics, but all of the money for AIPAC or from AIPAC is American money. It's Americans who are Zionists and sympathetic to the state of Israel and want Israel to benefit from U.S. foreign policy that specifically use their wealth, like it's a group of people who use their wealth to ensure politicians that will keep Israel's best interests at heart get elected. Some of them are Israeli nationalists. Some of them are maybe just normal people who have fallen for the propaganda that to be pro-Jewish, you have to be pro-Israel. Or to be anti-Semitism, you have to be pro-Israel. Israel puts out a lot of propaganda trying to convince people of that, especially Jewish people. Keep in mind, Jewish people are the most hate-crimed group in the world even today. So it's definitely a group of people you can fearmonger to. You know what I mean?
Since people are calling me out on it, let me change. I think that's the biggest issue that people have with Democrats. Is like, obviously, with that type of wavering, you're standing for absolutely nothing. It's why people were frustrated with Kamala when they asked the specific question, how would you handle our interaction with Israel differently and what's happening in Gaza differently? Or would you, from President Joe Biden? And she really couldn't give any differentiation. Yeah, I think these are big things. And so if you are looking at what the party wants, and my biggest criticism of Democrats moving forward, or biggest suggestion is to talk to people on the streets more, see what people want, talk about the economy more. But part of that is just engaging with voters. If you're really trying to represent this base of people and you want to know what they're feeling.
Do Republicans go on the street and talk to people about what they care about? Because from what I've seen, what's winning Republicans the elections constantly is like having their finger just tapped into the pulse of like the culture war and trends. Like the right, I think it was like very much a joke to say that memes won Trump the election in 2016, but now we're in 2026, and I feel like when you say memes won Trump the election in 2024, far fewer people are going to come out to say that's ridiculous. You had Jake Paul, Aiden Ross, and whatnot, and fucking Andrew Tate, I think, at Trump's inauguration. Like, Trump was like collabing with streamers. The White House is posting memes and AI edits and whatnot. Like, at the end of the day, I think the Democrats need to learn how to meme. That's one thing that Gavin Newsom actually has over many other Democrats, by the way. Gavin Newsom can meme on his social media. I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
About AIPAC support or Israel as a whole, or if it's rather more directed at Benjamin Netanyahu, then you should go out and talk to people that are voting for your party. And I think they're missing that conversation by just deciding, oh, let's make a boogeyman. People want you to do more and actually see how they feel, as opposed to just find another boogeyman to point to and say, well, Republicans take money for that. Because Republicans are being very obvious and blatant, or people like John Fetterman are being very obvious and blatant that they support pretty much everything Israel does. They'll take AIPAC money. It doesn't bother them. And so just stand on something. Say what your stance is, as opposed to just saying, I'm not taking money. I'd rather hear Democrats say what they'd like to do differently,
right?
How they would not or would like to support Israel, and in what ways, what capacity, what the future in 2028 when your president looks like for our allyship with Israel. Say those things, as opposed to, oh no, we don't take AIPAC money. We just took it 2 months ago. It's just kind of falls on deaf ears.
You know what? I agree with you. I agree with that entirely.
This is too friendly. He feels bad for.
Yeah, like people right now, left and right, are so polarized against Israel. You have to have a strong, not flighty take on it. At the end of the day, if you criticize Israel, the Israeli government and Israeli nationalists are going to call you an anti-Semite. You're going to have to deal with that bad rep in the press. That's just how it is. That's the reality of it. Like, it's going to have to be normalized that you, as a politician, call out Israel, and in response, when they call you an anti-Semite, you say, no, I'm not. Stop using Jewish people as a shield. Politicians need to grow the balls enough to say that.
From yesterday. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm out of here.
No, I agree. I say what they actually believe, and which, Gavin Newsom was doing that in his remarks about Israel and.
But then don't walk it back. If you feel that way, then just stand on it. Like every time you can't flip flop every time. Oh no, I just want to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu. How do you feel? And the Gavin Newsom, mind you, has said he never took AIPAC money, ever. That's what he said.
If you really sincerely think Israel is an apartheid state, well then, doesn't it necessarily follow from that we shouldn't be giving them military aid? Like, isn't that right? I mean,
that would be a big deal, yeah.
So that makes me think you don't actually believe that, or because then you should come out and say, and we should not give them military aid. The military aid, we haven't talked about this in a while, but is the aspect of the Israeli policy I am most against, because I just don't agree with giving foreign aid, period. I wouldn't give it to anyone. If they want to, we basically discount and subsidize weapons that they buy.
This guy doesn't want to give any foreign aid, but how much you want to bet he is not upset at Trump for getting us involved in a pointless foreign war a year into his presidency? How much you want to bet?
From us at a discounted rate. I would let them buy weapons from us at the full market price.
It's John Chud.
Anyone else who was our friends can buy them too, but no, we're going to charge them for it. Not have taxpayers subsidize that. That would be my solution. And then no one can say we're propping it up, and it would be a win, I think, domestically and foreign policy wise. That's what I support.
Yeah, and I think, AIPAC are lobbyists that are trying to do their job, but perhaps there's a conversation about being able to be criticized that they need to just have amongst the lobbying organization. Like, what issues do you actually want pushed forward? It can't be every single thing that Netanyahu wants to do. I mean, that's not a policy. That's just blindly being obedient to a person. So what is it? Because even as we've heard a lot of people say, including Newsom, is that Netanyahu was kind of on the fence with people that actually live in Israel, whether they want him to continue to lead when his term's up, what's next. And that's on both sides of the aisle, that people want him to do more to take over territory or Gaza, and other people want him to do much less and think he went way too far. And so what does that mean for the future of leadership, and what's our role in that? I think we have a lot to answer to, but people giving flip-floppy responses doesn't help.
Do you know that there is now an AIPAC? So there's going to be AIPAC and AIPAC. There's going to be a lot of confusion over these terms.
He's not wrong
on
there.
Social media.
AIPAC.
No one's going to like either of them,
Is that amongst all the big social media companies? They're putting billions into that to make sure that all their policies pass, while they have somebody who's going to say yes to everything as long as he pays for this golden ballroom?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I summed it up right there, okay?
Probably.
We have a lot more to talk about. Stay with us on Rising.
Yeah. So, listen, Gavin Newsom, I see why a lot of people are not a big fan of him. And this is just on the issue of Israel. Like, he'll say something based, but the second he gets pushback on it, he'll walk it back. And that's definitely got to be frustrating as hell if you are a leftist and you want to proudly vote for a Democrat. But I need you to understand that, like, activism and voting are not mutually exclusive. You should always be voting, especially active in your local elections and voting on, like, certain provisional ballots and stuff like that. Or not provisional, like referendums and different, like, votes on policies that you might get on your ballot. Like, you need to be voting on these things. You need to be having your voice be heard. You need to be voting for your district's representative. You need to be voting for mayor and governor of your state. These are all really important positions, and if you are someone who's voted, if you voted for the guy who gets elected, that gives you power. You can call that person up. You can call their office and complain to them about something they've done or something they're planning to do and potentially impact their policy decisions. This is something you do not get to do if you did not elect the person who's in office, or if you didn't support the person who's in office, or if the person who's in office doesn't give a shit about keeping your vote or getting your vote because it's impossible to get in the first place. You need to vote. Other forms of activism are just, you do those too. The voting does not stop you from doing those other forms of activism. It shouldn't in the slightest. I don't see how it possibly could. I don't know. I get frustrated with this mindset that I see from a lot of leftists, that we need the perfect candidate. Otherwise, it's not worth voting for them. I assure you, fascism wants nothing more than to destroy leftism. That is a core tenet of fascism, is eliminating socialism and communism, wiping it out completely. They will not ever compromise on this. Allowing fascists to win is tantamount to a death sentence, to suicide, basically. The idea that we should just give up is absolutely insane to me. The fact that there are leftists with a platform who have that position is insane to me. We need to vote. Simple stuff, guys. It's simple stuff. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way, leave a like and a comment down below. It's totally free and it helps a ton. I also appreciate it a lot. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more content from me in the future here on the channel and you want YouTube to tell you. And if you want to support the channel directly, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website or on YouTube. I always appreciate it, but don't forget to follow my social medias linked down below as well if you want to see me on other platforms. Especially don't forget to follow me or join my fan Discord. It's the main hub of my community and fan base, and I hope to see you around. Thank you for watching this segment, though, and I hope you have a good one.